Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host, Andra, with a topic about sex and the point of view of an older woman. Now, I know we are all cooped up in the house right now due to our state of affairs and getting cabin fever. But, there are several places to have some kinkiness that is out there, something to look forward to, possible even take a vacation when we're released from our quarantine. Well, we're going to go through them. We're going to do the top 10 on the list, and we're going to start this off with Cartagena, Colombia. Now, this is a 4-day sex island retreat. It is owned by or run by Good Girls Company. It's on a remote island off the coast of Cartagena. It is actually called Sex Island. And what it does is you go there with your guests, with you, your partner, with the people who are there. You have a 4-day bonanza of unlimited sex, drugs, and alcohol. Well, some of you out there, that's quite a package. The next one on the list, number 2, Desire Resort in Mexico. It's a nudist resort, and it's dedicated to carnal pleasure. Okay? This is actually on their website, and this is what it says. It says, submerge yourself in a world of erotic pleasure where fulfilling your fantasies and awakening your senses is your only objective. I think it says it for itself right there. I don't think you need anybody to explain that to you. Number 3 on our list is Mumbai. Now, they don't, it's called Maximum City, and it reads, it says they don't call it Maximum City for nothing. They're actually sex toys that you could buy. You could buy the maximum number of sex toys in India. So, there's all kinds of stuff over there. They have a little store there with all kinds. Why ask for anything more? Has me at a loss for words. Let's go to the next one on our list. And this is West Bengal. Now, they have candy panties. And this is in India. Now, this is number 2. Number 2 in India. The second kinkiest place on earth. Now, as it states, it's redefining breakfast or dinner in bed. Bongs have been chomping on the chewy chattis more than all the rest. So, there are candy panties. on the menu. We go in for number 6, which is Berlin, Germany. And they actually are open to all, and very open to all manner of sexual fetishism. Interesting. Apparently, Berlin, Germany is a hedon's delight, mostly because of a public that's very open to experimentation. So they're very open about themselves and bringing that out into where open, populated places. So you can walk around and do what you like there. Now, we all know about this place, which is number 7 on the list. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Beautiful place. And it has Carnaval. Everybody, I haven't gone yet. Would love to, but I'm sure others have gone there and seen it. And they have a bunch of erotic resorts and clubs all over the beach paradise, which we probably are well aware of. And they have the largest BDSM subcultures in the world. Brazil. So we all know that Carnaval is quite a sight, but put in the mix a little S&M, and there you go. Next one. These places, we all know them. Number 8 is Barcelona, Spain. I've seen in pictures, but they have the world's first sex doll brothel. So we all know that the new thing now is lifelike sex dolls, where they're almost like robots. They even have them where they can talk now. And they're pretty expensive, but apparently Barcelona, Spain has a place where you can just go, and it has a brothel where you could just go in there at full reign. You pay for them, you can use them. Interesting enough. A little creepy, but interesting all the same. Next one on our list is number 9 and getting close to 10. And as you can see, I go 1 through 10. I do not count down. Number 9 is London in the UK. This is considered the most sexual city in the world. And this was actually, according to a study, it's actually due in large part to women's satisfaction levels. So ladies, we got an in over there. And it was actually determined on the basis of sexual satisfaction, access to sex toys, and easy access to contraception. Ooh, little tongue tied there. Contraception. So, there are way other countries that are very, very comfortable with their sexuality, and they show it because it's open there. And the last one on our list, number 10, drum roll please, Copenhagen, Denmark. Now, they have a yearly festival called Kinky Copenhagen. Geez, I don't know. Could it be kinky? That word kinky in there. It's highly sex positive destination. It's also home to yearly International Kinky Copenhagen Festival. And what this festival is a celebration of all things sexy. Chains, whips, handcuffs, piercings, in strange places, of course. And it's all on display. They are out in the open and not scared to show it. So we right now are kind of homebound to all of us here in the U.S. and in other countries like Italy and China, which is just recently been able to somewhat get back to normal. But when we are released, hey, we're all going to need vacations. And let's talk sex. Let's go here. Any one of these destinations on the list should be at the top of our list to see. So that is the end of our first part of my segment. So go get a snack, go get a drink, come back, get comfortable, and I'll be back. We're going to talk about some kinky questions to ask your partner, whether in bed or not. So we'll be back.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, in the first part of our segment, we talked about the sexiest, kinkiest places, all sex, that rated top 10 in the world. And as promised, we're going to go through some questions, some kinky sex questions we should be asking our partner, from the dirty to the flirty. Now, some of these questions we already should be asking our partner because they are common sense. You don't need to ask these questions while in bed with your partner. You can ask them anytime you want, because that's why they're questions. First one we can even look at, which, we generally always will ask our partner anyway, because curiosity, it just kills us. Whereas we'll either ask our partner or our partner will ask us this question: what's your dirtiest sexual fantasy? And for the most part, our partners want to top that. So, they want to see how far you're going to go. So there's a way of looking at that. One that we should be always just asking, and which always will come up, and this is more for your protection sexually as for your partner. How many people have you slept with? Not exactly kinky, not exactly really sexual, but something that actually should be asked. Generally, we always ask, we want to know. Our curiosity kills us, and we usually ask our partners, where's the weirdest place you've ever had sex? I mean, it could just be in the backseat of the dad's old pickup truck, Who's to say? You never know. But some of these questions, like I said, are things that we should be already asking our partners, or our partners should be asking us. Now, this one's a cute one, and we've done this before while talking on the phone with our partners or our possible sex toy for the night before they come over. You know, if you could choose what I was wearing right now, what would you choose? Now, we all know that generally that question is going to come back. If it's the male to the female, it's going to come back as lingerie, a teddy, handcuffs or something right now. So it is really whatever. You're just basically opening the door for the fantasy right there. There are so many of these that are common sense and things that we already ask. Like, what kind of porn do you watch? How often do you masturbate? Name a sex position you would like to try. You know, some things are, do you prefer to give or receive? There are things, you know. In this one, what's your best orgasm ever? Some people, that, for the most part, you remember that and you can answer that question with no problem at all. These are really cool, either beginning questions or things just out of curiosity because you are going to go to bed with this person and, you know, do the uglies in the sheeties. But hey, I mean, it's things that we think of every day. And if you're that comfortable with your partner, these questions should be being asked, or they just use them as foreplay. Like, what's the most sex you've had in a day? That would be a total turn on probably for your partner or the individual who's asking for it, because they probably want to top that number. So you got to look at them this way. The other one, are you loud or quiet during sex? That could be answered. You know, tell them you can make something up. It depends on the sex, you know, all something that you can do. It asks questions like, what would you say? Oh, well, it'll say, would you say you have any fetishes? I think we all have fetishes. Some people have them just more than others, and they're more outwardly with them and more comfortable with them. Generally, fetishes, people who have them would prefer to keep those between whoever they are having that sexual relationship with. So that's where that would come in. And I mean, this used to be a joke when we were kids. Nowadays, I think people are just trying to do it to outplay the other person or match their partner or a friend, where have you joined the Mile High Club? And there's other things like, do you think you could take off your underwear with no hands? I hate to tell you this, but most ladies can. And they can take off their bras, they can take off their underwears. Men, you gotta go the long way around. I hate to tell you that, but it happens to be, we have learned as women to know how to do this. What's your most embarrassing sexual experience? We've all had them. We probably don't want to talk about them, but we have had them. Everybody has had one. You don't ever get it right the first time, or the person that you thought was going to be different when you went to bed with them, and then it came up as, oh my God, that's probably the worst experience I've ever had. So there is ways to think of it. Have you ever cried or fallen asleep during sex? Believe it or not, it happens. And this one, it's, you know, you can answer this, but for the most part, people are going off of this question based on how many times they have sex, and is how high is your sex drive. So, and I like this one. How many positions do you think you've tried? can anybody sit down and, well, for the most part, individuals can do that. And because this is a way to spice up the bedroom, you want to change those sexual positions. You want to try something else. So it's just these things that you're thinking of. So just ask. Quickie or marathon session. Hey, either way, sometimes you just want a quickie. It has you wanting more, so that when you get to that marathon session, you're like, okay, well, that's what I was waiting for. But it can be used as a tease. Coming home from work at lunchtime, because you only have so much time, and getting a little in. You gotta think this. This one's really funny because I don't think this question would be answered. I think it'd be asked differently. It says, how would you make me have an orgasm? Generally, that's more like, what do you want to do to me? Because the end result is most likely always the orgasm. So, these questions, things like, what's a surefire way to turn you on? I mean, little things like, do you like sex with lights on or off? Some people are a little self-conscious of their body in the beginning. If this is your first encounter with a new partner, you're a little shy. Unless, of course, you're very comfortable and you've worked up to this. You're very comfortable talking with each other. You're comfortable being around each other. Foreplay is there. The teasing is there. Then it doesn't matter, really. But for the most part, that first sexual encounter, you're not exactly sure how it's going to be. So you ask these questions. I mean, there's tons of these questions. Please do ask your partner. Have fun with this. Sex is fun. So this is, we're going to take a break here. So replenish your drink and your snack. Come back, get comfortable. When we return, we'll talk about how to make love and have rough sex at the same time. Does a woman prefer it rough or romantic?
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, with the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this is our final part of the segment, and as promised, we're going to talk about how to make love and have rough sex at the same time. Now, the question's always separated, and it's generally always geared towards the woman. with regards to, does she like it rough or does she just want the romantic part, the making love? Believe it or not, people, women want both. So change it up a bit. So we don't get to ask that question. This is where it comes in and you ask your partner or that new partner. And this is how, how do you like it? Learning each other's bodies and things like that. It's just experimenting. Ask the question. Generally with romantic love, if you've been with somebody for a very, very long time and have never taken out of the handcuffs, the whips, the chains, the little funky little sex toys, I don't think after 10, 20 years, all of a sudden you bring them in, because your partner will get the wrong idea and it's going to be totally nixed in the butt before it even was put on the table and discussed. So you would rather try some arousal confusion. Yes, it's as it says. You're changing how you're arousing your partner. You've done the same thing for the longest time. Change it up. Do something a little bit different. And it's actually considered muscle confusion. And the whole idea of it, that muscle growth eventually plateaus if you stick to the same exercise over and over again. And we all know this. We go to the gym, we're doing the same thing. We get to the point our bodies just don't want to do anything else. And we're not getting anywhere. We're not gaining muscle. We're not losing weight. We're not changing what our body looks like or the way that we want it. So, changing up the muscles and doing different things in different exercises with the muscles confuses them. That's where you see the change. Same thing in this particular situation. In order to keep those muscles growing, you need to give them something new. It's plain and simple. And this confuses them. But yet it is a new thing when it comes to our muscles and to our sex life. So you change it up. And there are some steps. So let's go through them. Step 1. Start with a passionate kiss. Doesn't have to lead anywhere. Just start with it. And the two of you will so totally be involved in it that your partner is going to get so totally turned on by the kiss. They're going to want more and wonder where this is coming from, all this passion all of a sudden. If you've never run your fingers through their hair, your partner's hair, or, touched them in a particular way, do it. Subtly, but yet do it where they notice. Then you go into lovemaking mode. So you're switching at step 2. You're going from that passionate, now we're switching it up into lovemaking. So there's that muscle confusion's coming in. So you want to, go down and say you start at her head or your partner's head, and you want to work your way right down your partner's body. Hell, you might want to switch it up, go front to back, where you're kissing all over, or start at the toes and, go all the way up. Mix it up. Now we're switching back up again here. Step 3, go back to that rough passion. Because now you're getting your partner in that, oh my God, I want more. And it's rough and they're liking it. You're introducing it. You're not doing it all at once, where they're like, where is this coming from? It won't work. You get back into that major kissing event. And kissing, believe it or not, is one of the things that women love. Some men I've heard don't exactly like it as much as the woman does. The woman actually equates that into partial part of the sex. So that is her turn on for her. So, and then if you're not already on the bed, pick your partner up and throw them on the bed. Or if you're on the bed, rip them off the bed. And then go up against the wall, changing it up. It's that little bit of rough versus romantic. But you're right in the same sexual act. You're bouncing between it because, at step 5, you're back to the romantic side. And you're going back and forth, back and forth. And at this point, we're going into becoming, we might still have your clothes on. Now you're going to the step where you're taking off the clothes, or you're getting half of your clothes off, not all of them. And it might be the top half, it might be the bottom half. Now we're going back to getting rough again. It's just switching between the two, never giving into that. And it's allowing you to let your partner know that although you're getting slightly rough in turning your partner on, that you really are enjoying your partner, you really love your partner. This sexual act means worlds to you. So it's one of those. Now we're going to go down to, half naked, to returning to rough, to just tease your partner slowly, because their body, their muscles are all on the top from that little bit of roughness, and you're getting them almost to that orgasm point, or to that point where they want more, and then you slow it down and you go really slow, and they're like wondering why did they stop. And this is good. This is very good. Pay attention to your partner's body. See what your partner's body's doing, and go with it, because that is what it's all about. It's learning about your partner, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and going between the rough to the slow. It's just tease. It's a royal tease, but it's as a turn on, and you are accomplishing that roughness and that romance at the same time. So by the time you get to the last step or the last part of this sexual act, the both of you are ready to just hit that mega orgasm and just do it and bring it home, because that's what it's all about. Just bring it home. Get rough, get to the edge, let it flow. Now, some people won't admit that they like the roughness. This is where this will come in and actually put it there where they're not expecting it, because there's a little bit of roughness in there. But to them, they think it's just this, oh my God, we're in the middle of the hotness. He's getting me to this point. Why is he stopping? Or why is she stopping? So there's where that little bit of confusion comes in, but they like it. So if you've never got downright rough with your partner, and you've been with that person for a while, I mean, if you're just having a sex with a partner, or you get together and you start right off the bat and it's rough, go with it if that's what you want. But if you want to spice it up and really do something different. Go back and forth with the two. You're confusing it. It's definitely your partner's going to want more and they're going to want you to do it again. So, I'm to the end of my show for now. I hope you enjoyed it. So, as always, practice safe sex. Even though we do love it a little rough and a little slow, do practice safe sex. If not for your partner, for yourself.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.